Part 1 begins with Daniel arriving at Melissa's small Oregon home for a regular weekend visit, but from the moment he steps inside, something feels different, though neither of them can explain it. Melissa notices how much he has changed. No longer the shy teenager she remembered, but a calm and confident young man in college who carries himself with a quiet maturity, and Daniel instantly senses Melissa's gentle warmth. The way she always makes people feel safe, which he has missed more than he realized. The visit moves quickly into deeper emotional territory as they spend the evening preparing dinner together, sharing easy conversations that gradually turn unexpectedly personal. Daniel opens up about how overwhelming university life feels, especially the pressure to succeed and the loneliness he hides behind polite smiles, while Melissa admits she has been feeling empty and isolated too, especially after years of living alone since her long-term relationship ended, and this shared honesty creates a surprising closeness between them, something neither planned, yet neither pulls away from. As the night continues, Melissa finds herself studying the way Daniel listens with real care, not out of obligation, and she realizes he has grown into someone thoughtful and emotionally aware, someone who notices the small details about her home, her mood, even the way she hesitates before speaking, and that awareness touches her in a place she didn't know needed attention. Meanwhile, Daniel feels comfort simply being near her, because Melissa has always been the steady voice in his life, the one who supported him through difficult exams, guided him through confusing friendships, and helped him apply for college. But now he sees a different side to her, a softer vulnerability, and this makes him want to understand her in a deeper way. As they eat dinner, the conversation moves effortlessly between serious moments and small laughter, creating a warm, intimate atmosphere that feels almost like a quiet escape from the world outside. Melissa notices how Daniel remembers things she said months ago, how he speaks with a gentle confidence, and how he respects her thoughts, and this makes her heart feel unexpectedly full. Yet underneath that warmth is confusion, because the connection feels different, stronger, deeper, filled with a quiet emotional pull that she cannot name, and she wonders if she is imagining it or if Daniel feels it too. When Daniel helps her clean the kitchen without being asked, telling her she deserves to rest for once, she feels a sudden rush of gratitude mixed with an emotion she does not want to examine too closely. Later, as they settle into the living room, talking about life choices and dreams, Melissa shares a story about the time she almost moved to another state for a job she never took because she was scared of starting over, and Daniel tells her he often feels like he is living a life chosen for him, not by him, and this mutual vulnerability makes the room feel smaller, like they are the only two people in the world. The emotional closeness grows gently but undeniably throughout the night until Melissa excuses herself to go to bed, her heart unsettled yet strangely warm. She finds herself replaying their conversations, the way Daniel looked at her when she spoke honestly, the quiet understanding in his voice, and she realizes she has not connected with anyone like this in a long time. Lying awake, she tries to convince herself that she is simply proud of him, simply touched by his growth, simply comforted by his presence, but deep inside she knows the feeling is more complicated, a soft, delicate tension that is not improper but undeniably emotional. At the same time, Daniel sits alone in the living room, thinking about the way Melissa opened up to him, how real she sounded compared to everyone else in his life, and he feels a strange mixture of protectiveness and admiration he cannot explain. She is his aunt, yes, but she is also the person he trusts most, the one who understands him without judgment, and tonight he sensed her loneliness in a way he never had before. As he finally walks to his room, he wonders why being near her feels so natural yet so intense, why her presence calms him and pulls at something emotional deep inside him, something he didn't know was there. Both go to sleep with heavy thoughts and quiet hearts, unaware that this small shift between them, a warmth neither of them expected, will soon unravel into a truth waiting in the shadows, a revelation that will change everything they believe about themselves, their past, and the bond they share. Part 2 begins with a soft, rainy morning that fills Melissa's Oregon home with a peaceful quiet, and when she walks into the kitchen, she finds Daniel already awake, humming gently as he brews coffee. Moving with a calm confidence she hasn't seen in him before, and the sight unexpectedly warms her heart. They start their day quickly, talking about grocery lists and weekend plans, but the air between them carries the same emotional tension from the night before, gentle, subtle, and almost unspoken. As they drive to town, the rain tapping on the windshield makes everything feel closer, more personal, and Melissa keeps noticing small things about him, how he watches the road carefully, how he listens with patience, how his voice has grown firm yet soft, and every detail only deepens the strange warmth she felt earlier. Daniel, on the other hand, finds himself paying attention to her in a different way, her tired eyes, her quiet strength, the way she tries to smile even when she seems overwhelmed, and he wonders how he never saw her loneliness before. In the grocery store, their conversations move faster, shifting from everyday topics to deeper questions about life and choices. Daniel admits he feels lost in college, unsure if architecture is truly his dream or simply the dream others expect him to follow, and Melissa listens with full attention, giving him small, comforting words that make him feel understood in a way no one else in his life does. As they walk back to the car, the rain suddenly grows heavier, and they sit inside for a moment, waiting for it to soften. During this pause, Melissa feels his gaze on her, a soft, thoughtful look filled with empathy and something she does not dare interpret, and she quickly looks away, trying to steady her heart. Daniel wonders why she suddenly seems distant, unaware that his gentle gaze had stirred something emotional inside her. Once home, the day moves quickly. They unpack groceries, laugh at small things like misplaced cereal and unevenly sliced bread, and the house feels alive in a way it hasn't in months. After lunch, they decide to reorganize Melissa's living room bookshelf, a simple task that unexpectedly turns into hours of talking and sharing memories. Melissa tells Daniel about her first big heartbreak, the disappointment of a dream job that slipped away, and the courage it took to build a quiet life on her own, and Daniel listens with a seriousness that surprises her. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't judge, only listens with a maturity that makes her chest tighten with unexpected emotion. Daniel then shares childhood fears he never spoke about, the pressure he felt to always be the good kid, the one who never caused trouble, and Melissa feels a surge of protectiveness stronger than anything she has felt in years. They sit on the floor, surrounded by stacks of books, talking about the parts of themselves they hide from the world, and with every word, the distance between them seems to disappear, replaced by a closeness that feels fragile yet comforting. At one point, Daniel reaches for a book at the same time she does, and their hands brush lightly. The touch is innocent, but the moment freezes both of them, filling the room with a sudden silence that makes Melissa's breath catch and sends a quiet shock through Daniel's chest. She quickly pulls her hand back, her face turning slightly warm, and Daniel looks away, both pretending nothing happened, but both feeling something shift invisibly inside. They continue sorting books, trying to act normal, but the emotional energy in the room only grows stronger, soft, unspoken, and confusing. As the afternoon fades, Daniel suddenly asks a question that catches Melissa completely off guard. Do you ever feel like your life is waiting for a moment, something that explains everything? He asks it quietly, but the meaning behind it hangs in the air like a weight. Melissa stares at him, surprised by the depth of his words, because she has felt exactly that, like there is a truth she has been avoiding for years, a truth that might change everything. Before she can answer, a loud knock echoes through the house, cutting the moment sharply in half. Both of them jump slightly, the sound breaking their emotional stillness. Melissa wipes her hands and walks toward the door, unsure who would visit on such a rainy day, and Daniel watches her from the living room, feeling a strange nervousness he cannot explain. The knock comes again, stronger this time, and an uneasy feeling passes through Melissa's chest as she turns the handle. She does not know that whatever waits behind that door will not only interrupt the peaceful weekend but crack open a truth she has kept hidden for more than 20 years, a truth that will redefine everything Daniel knows about himself and everything Melissa has carefully protected. She takes a deep breath, opens the door, and sees a mail carrier standing there with a single envelope in hand, addressed in handwriting she recognizes instantly, and the moment she takes it, she feels her heart drop, because she already knows this letter carries the one truth she prayed would never surface at the wrong time. Meanwhile, Daniel waits inside, unaware that this simple envelope is about to change the direction of their lives forever, turning an ordinary visit into the beginning of a revelation neither of them is prepared for. Part 3 begins with Melissa holding the envelope from the mail carrier, her hands trembling slightly, the rain still tapping on the windows outside, and she knows instantly that this letter carries the kind of truth that could change everything between her and Daniel. She hesitates. thinking about whether she should open it now, but curiosity and the weight of years of secrecy push her forward, and when she finally unfolds the paper, the familiar handwriting of her sister stares back at her, causing a rush of memories to flood her mind, memories of Daniel as a baby, memories she had hidden from everyone, memories she had never thought she could share. Daniel notices her sudden pause and the way her lips tremble, and instinctively he asks if everything is okay, but Melissa only shakes her head slightly, trying to steady herself, knowing that the next few moments will rewrite the understanding they have shared for years. As Daniel leans closer, she hands him the letter, telling him softly that it is something he needs to read himself, and he opens it carefully, his eyes scanning each line, his breath catching as the words sink in. The letter explains a family secret that neither of them could have imagined, a truth hidden for more than 20 years, kept out of love and fear, a secret about Daniel's origins, about who truly brought him into the world, and how decisions made by adults long ago shaped the life he thought he knew. As he reads, the emotional impact hits both of them simultaneously, Melissa's eyes well with tears, her heart aching at the knowledge that years of closeness carried an unspoken truth, and Daniel feels a mixture of shock, confusion, and a strange sense of recognition, a pull toward Melissa that suddenly makes sense in a way he never understood before. His voice cracks when he finally speaks, asking, "You're my mother?" And Melissa nods, her own tears spilling over, her voice soft as she explains how she wanted to tell him many times but chose to let his adoptive mother raise him so he could have a stable, loving home, never imagining that hiding the truth would make their bond seem ordinary when in reality it had always been extraordinary. Daniel sinks onto the couch, overwhelmed by emotions he cannot name, grief for the lost years, relief that he finally understands a part of himself, and a sudden longing for closeness he had always felt but never placed, and Melissa kneels beside him, offering gentle touches and quiet words that comfort without judgment, because both of them are navigating the same storm of revelation together. They talk slowly, cautiously, about what this secret means, how it changes their perception of their relationship, and how they can move forward, acknowledging the complexity of emotions, shock, love, guilt, relief, and understanding, all colliding in the small living room as the rain continues outside, creating a cocoon of intimacy and emotional rawness that neither had experienced before. Melissa explains that she never intended to replace his adoptive mother, only to be present in whatever way she could, and Daniel, through tears, begins to process the love and care he has always felt for her, now seeing it in a new light, realizing that the emotional connection that had subtly grown between them over the years was in fact a reflection of their true bond, long hidden from view. The revelation ignites a deep, emotional shift. Daniel feels a responsibility to understand her sacrifices, to reconcile the years they lost, and to embrace the love that had always been quietly present, while Melissa struggles with a mixture of relief that the truth is finally out and guilt for having withheld it for so long, but she knows it was necessary for Daniel's happiness and stability. As they sit together, reading and rereading portions of the letter, sharing quiet confessions and moments of tearful laughter, the world outside seems to disappear, leaving only the two of them and the fragile, newly revealed truth that binds them more tightly than ever before, and in this space, both feel the weight of unspoken emotions lifting, replaced by a raw, honest connection that feels like both an ending and a beginning. Daniel asks questions about his earliest memories, about the choices made for him, and Melissa answers with honesty, soft explanations, and occasional pauses to hold his hand, feeling the shared vulnerability between them deepen in ways that words cannot fully capture. The day slips past, unnoticed, as they explore memories, feelings, and the intricate threads of their shared past, slowly building a foundation for the future, realizing that the revelation, while shocking, is not destructive but healing, offering a second chance to truly know one another. Every glance, every small touch, every quiet word carries the weight of decades of hidden truth, and both Melissa and Daniel begin to understand that love, in its many forms, can survive absence, secrecy, and time, waiting for the right moment to become visible. As evening falls, the rain subsides, leaving a fresh, gentle calm outside, and both feel the emotional exhaustion of the day yet a quiet satisfaction, knowing that they have crossed an invisible line from ignorance to understanding, from ordinary familial connection to a deeply meaningful bond, one that is honest, strong, and full of emotional nuance. The revelation has rewritten everything, Daniel's sense of self, Melissa's understanding of her own choices, and the emotional dynamic between them, transforming a simple weekend visit into a turning point in their lives, one that will guide every word, every touch, every glance from this day forward. And while neither of them knows exactly what comes next, both understand that the weekend will no longer be ordinary, and that the path ahead, though uncertain, is now grounded in truth, openness, and the quiet promise of healing and reconnection. In the quiet that follows, Melissa holds his hand gently, and Daniel leans slightly toward her, both aware that the bond they share has always existed beneath the surface, now finally recognized, and the ordinary visit they began with has become the first chapter of a story they will navigate together, a story of discovery, emotional depth, and love reborn through revelation, leaving the audience with a sense of suspense, hope, and anticipation for what tomorrow might bring. Part 4 begins immediately after the revelation hits Daniel like a sudden storm, leaving him stunned and overwhelmed as he sits on the couch trying to process the truth that Melissa, his aunt, is in fact his biological mother, and the room feels both heavy and intimate. With unspoken emotion, he looks at her with a mix of disbelief, relief, and confusion, searching for answers in her eyes, while Melissa kneels beside him, her own tears flowing freely, knowing that the secret she kept for so long has finally come into the open, and that the bond between them must now be rebuilt from honesty rather than years of careful omission. She explains gently, her voice trembling but steady, that she never wanted to disrupt his life or take away the love his adoptive mother gave him, that every choice she made was out of care and protection, and that finally, after years of holding the truth inside, she could no longer hide the reality that he deserved to know who she truly was. And as she speaks, Daniel begins to understand the depth of her sacrifice, the quiet patience and love that had guided her actions, and the emotional weight that had been carried silently all these years. Daniel's mind races, memories of their time together flashing in new light, the evenings spent talking, the moments of shared laughter, the times he felt a strange, comforting warmth in her presence, all now make sense, and he realizes that the connection he always felt was more than family friendship, it was the natural bond between mother and child, waiting for recognition. Slowly, he reaches for her hand, hesitant but seeking comfort, and Melissa takes it without hesitation, holding it firmly yet gently, a silent promise that she will be there, no matter how confusing or emotional this moment feels, and that bond, once hidden, now becomes tangible and grounding. They talk for hours, exploring questions, emotions, and the unspoken tension of the years spent apart, and Daniel begins to voice the feelings he has long kept inside, longing, admiration, and even moments of quiet heartbreak over the lost time, while Melissa listens with absolute attention, validating every emotion, sharing her own fears, regrets, and hopes, and the dialogue, though emotional, is healing, each word building bridges that years of absence could not destroy. As the evening turns into night, the quiet of the house surrounds them, the faint sound of rain outside replaced by the soft hum of realization and understanding between them, and in that space, Daniel allows himself to lean into her presence, feeling both relief and a bittersweet sorrow for the time they lost, while Melissa's heart swells with a mix of pride, love, and sorrow for the years she could not spend openly as his mother. They begin to share dreams for the future, imagining how they can rebuild their relationship slowly, carefully, without erasing the life Daniel has already lived, and Melissa reassures him that love is not diminished by the past but strengthened by truth and openness, giving Daniel a sense of security he has never felt so fully before. Daniel expresses a mix of gratitude and wonder at the quiet, nurturing love she has always shown, realizing that every act of care, every moment of attention, every subtle gesture was her way of connecting without disrupting his life, and Melissa confirms that her love has never wavered, that it has always been there quietly, waiting for the right moment to be acknowledged. The revelation allows both of them to feel emotions they had kept buried. Daniel feels an unexpected freedom, a sense of belonging he had longed for, while Melissa experiences relief and joy that they can finally be open with one another, expressing feelings without restraint, and both recognize the profound shift that honesty has created in their relationship, turning years of longing and confusion into clarity and mutual understanding. As night deepens, Daniel sits beside Melissa, their shoulders almost touching, sharing memories and laughter that feel both familiar and new, discovering how easily they can communicate now, without the filters of secrecy or restraint, and the ordinary weekend has transformed into an extraordinary moment of reconnection, love, and trust, with emotions flowing naturally, deeply, and purely. Melissa encourages him to ask questions, to voice fears, to share his hopes, and Daniel does so, revealing dreams he had kept hidden, ambitions he had feared were too small or too fragile, and Melissa listens, offering gentle advice, soft reassurances, and the kind of emotional support only a parent can provide, now that the truth has made their connection whole and authentic. They reflect on the past, acknowledging the years they missed, and instead of dwelling on pain, they choose to embrace the chance to start anew, carefully creating boundaries, understanding, and emotional intimacy that is safe, loving, and healing, and in these moments, both feel a sense of emotional closure mixed with excitement for the possibilities ahead. Daniel thanks Melissa quietly, overwhelmed by the love he never fully recognized, and Melissa smiles softly, telling him that the gratitude belongs to neither. It is simply the natural bond of family revealed at last, unburdened by secrets or misunderstandings, and that bond, fragile yet resilient, promises them both a path forward filled with trust, warmth, and emotional honesty. As the night continues, they sit together sharing stories, small jokes, and quiet confessions, feeling the deep emotional resonance of the moment, knowing that the ordinary weekend that began with simple plans has ended with a profound revelation, one that changes everything yet feels exactly right, as if all the pieces of their lives were quietly waiting for this day to arrive, and both Melissa and Daniel finally allow themselves to feel peace, connection, and hope. The story concludes with the sense that while the journey ahead may hold challenges, their hearts are now aligned, their relationship grounded in truth, love, and understanding, and the revelation that began as a shock has transformed into the first step of a new chapter, one filled with emotional intimacy, respect, and the quiet joy of rediscovered family, leaving both mother and son with the promise of a future built on honesty, care, and heartfelt connection.